everybody, welcome back to another Tuesday grilling video, and this one's going to be fun. We're going to continue our circumnavigation of Africa from a cuisine perspective. A few weeks ago, my kids joined a virtual kids summer camp, and one of the first things they did was a cooking lesson, and then we made Moroccan tangine chicken, and it was a great opportunity to teach the kids a little bit about geography. So we talked about Northern Africa and what that looked like. And then a couple weeks ago, we went ahead and made a peanut butter chicken stew, and that sort of traveled down along the western side of Africa. That's something from Nigeria area, definitely a Western and Central African dish. So if we're going to kind of continue that path, the kids are excited about the next week, which will be Madagascar along the east coast, but right now we're focused on the southern tips, South Africa. And in South Africa, they have a dish there called Bobotie. I'm probably saying it wrong. I can't do the South African accent, but Bobotie is, if I were to describe it, I would say it's a South African version of meatloaf and/or shepherd's pie. So let me show you how we make this. It's going to be delicious and fun to make. So we'll talk about the ingredients we'll use, and I'll go ahead and put up a list of kind of what they are over here as well. I'll go ahead and put the entire recipe down in the description below, and I'll talk about what the ingredients are as I put them in, along with the quantities. You can just go ahead and look there for the entire recipe, but I'll talk about them as we go to each one. All right, so we have our 2 slices of bread, and we are just going to drop these into a 1.5 cups or 1.25 cups of whole milk. I'm just going to push those guys in there. I'm going to set them aside and let them soak. All right, my pan's nice and hot. I've got my onions right here. It's just sliced up into small pieces. And I also have those sliced garlic cloves in here as well. You just want to keep mixing these up until they're good and translucent. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the pan, and as I add the additional ingredients, I'll go ahead and talk to specifically what they are. Definitely some different ingredients in this as part of a South African Bobotie dish, and I think you're going to find them unique. And where they are unique, or I'm having to use a substitute, I'll certainly talk about it. I can't, for example, one of the things in this recipe is sultanas. Now you can't typically go down to your local store and pick up dried sultanas, but you can use dried cranberries, or what they call craisins here in the US, or you can use golden raisins. That would work too. Dried blueberries or even dried currants would work as well. You want a little bit of that bitter dried fruit in there. You could use figs and dates if you cut them up, but we're going to be using cranberries, dried cranberries. Yeah. Let me zoom in, I'll show you what this looks like. I really don't want these brown, so I probably could have mixed these just a moment earlier, but they're looking good. So we're going to go ahead and add in a few things. I've mixed them in the bowl here. I have about a teaspoon of chili paste. I also have 3 tablespoons of chutney and just a little bit of Worcestershire, about 1.5 teaspoons of Worcestershire, and about a teaspoon of vinegar. I'll do that and kind of mix this in. Man, you can smell that chutney. Smells so good already. It's kind of that sweet and spicy smell right together. You see what I mean by the way this color changes almost instantly. All right, now we're going to start adding some of our dry seasonings. I've mixed these up just because it's a little easier this way. I have about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm using smoked salt just because we're definitely a smoking channel here. I have about 2 tablespoons of either curry paste or curry powder, and I have about 2 teaspoons of turmeric. Now you don't want to use all the turmeric, so I've got a little bit I'm going to sprinkle in here in a minute. I'm going to add all those seasonings in. Just mix this up real good. I'm definitely wanting all those seasonings to work their way into the onions here. Again, look at that color going on. It's exactly what we want to see in a nice bobotie. All right, that nice and incorporated. Go ahead and add in a couple of bay leaves here. Put in 3 small ones just while we saute this before I pull them back out. Here's a bit of an oddball thing here, and I'm going to get a napkin out and get ready for this. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our bread, and we're just going to pick it up and sort of wring some of the milk out of it like a sponge. It doesn't have to be dry. We're just trying to get the majority of it out of there. Now, the reason we're doing this is going to become a bit of a binder. You know, you always think about an American meatloaf. It's not uncommon to put breadcrumbs in it. Well, with this, we're just going to crumple up this bread right down in here. Wash my hands off here real quick, and then I'm going to begin to grab out a few of these bay leaves and move them aside. I'm just going to set them aside because we're going to use them again in a little bit. One. Another one right here. Where was that third one? I thought it was over here somewhere. There's that third bay leaf. All right, got those there. Now what we're going to do, we're going to change over here to a wooden spoon because it'll be a little easier, and we're going to add in our 2 1/4 pounds of ground beef. But ideally, we're not wanting to brown this meat. What we're really just looking to do is kind of remove some of the pink from it. That's all we really need to do. Over here. Yeah, right here. Hey, do me a favor. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like it, subscribe to the channel and click on that little bell notification so you get notified of new videos. Thanks. You can see I'm going to start mixing this up. I want to get my onion mixture and seasonings all spread throughout this. Like I said before, I'm not looking to brown this meat like you would, you know, brown ground beef, but just want to remove the pink because we are going to end up baking this. And in our case, we're going to be cooking it in the smoker. Now, because we don't want to brown it, we want to mix it kind of continuously here. Now, as we mix this up, just keep stirring it around. We're about ready to go ahead and add in our sultanas. And in our case, we're going to be using those craisins, as I mentioned before. Man, does that smell good. But they work nice. It's a little bit of that sweet and bitter. It goes along with the chutney and cayenne. You know, it's those contrasting spicy and sweet flavors. And the sultanas or craisins or golden raisins or cranberries or dried currants, all that kind of does the same thing. We are really close here to getting ready to put this in a baking dish, topping it off with another unique mixture, which I'll show you in a moment. It really looks beautiful. If you have sultanas, perfect. If you don't, remember, golden raisins, dried cranberries, dates or figs that are dried and chopped up. You can use any of those. Dried currants, dried blueberries. You're wanting something that's a little bit tangy with a bit of sweetness to it. Just don't get anything that has sugar added. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take 2 eggs and we're going to beat them up and mix them right into our milk that we had the bread soaking in, and we're going to add a little bit of turmeric to that. That's going to give us a beautiful color on the topping. We're going to line all this into a cast iron skillet. You can do it in any kind of a casserole dish if you're doing it in your oven, but I'm going to do it right in a cast iron because I feel like that's a good thing to do out here on the smoker. Let me go ahead and get this assembled. I'll show you how it looks. All right, what we've got here is our mixture for our bobotie, and what we want to do is just sort of smooth it out. We're not looking to pack it down tight. We're not trying to make a packed burger or patty or meatloaf or anything like that. But we do want to smooth it out a little bit. I'll show you this last step. It's a little bit unique. Now, we're going to go ahead and crack 2 eggs right into a small mixing bowl. Make sure the bowl is big enough to accommodate your milk as well as the eggs. And you want to whisk these up real good. I probably should have brought a fork out here or a whisk. I didn't, so this is good enough. So we We've got those whipped up real nice. And now we're just going to go ahead and add our milk mixture from earlier that our bread was sitting in. All right, we're going to mix this up real good. This is the interesting one. We're going to add a little bit of turmeric to this, and the purpose behind this is to give this some lovely color. Not a whole lot, maybe a quarter to a half a teaspoon is all you need. You'll see what it does to this color. It's just beautiful. I'm going to mix it in real good. And now we just want to pour this over the top here. We want to spread it all the way out across this whole thing. Now I will say, you could do this the day before. You could let this sit in the fridge for a few hours. That would be just fine as well. You're just wanting this to sort of coat this whole top. All right, we're going to take some of these bay leaves that we pulled out earlier. I've got 2 of them I pulled out, and I'll put 2 fresh ones in here as well. Just set those right on the top so they're real easy to get out later. I'm going to go ahead and put this in an oven, 325 degrees or so for about 45 minutes. That's all we're looking for. Let me turn the camera around. I'll get inside the smoker. We'll show you how we're going to set this thing up. I'm going to put it above on the top rack because we really want to bake it more so than we want direct heat scorching the bottom. So we'll get a nice smoke flavor as well as the heat from the oven without it being direct flame underneath. All right, Bobotie coming in. There we go. All right, we got this guy in the grill. We're just going to go ahead and close this down and let it go for 45 minutes. Just take a look at this, folks. Oh, just take a look at that. Let me go ahead and pull this out and set it aside and let it start to cool before we give it a taste. Man, did that look good or what? So we're just going to go ahead and take off these bay leaves. That's the last of them. Wow, that just looks so good. It's going to be hot as can be. What's nice is it's got a little bit of a, almost like when you cook a burger on a flat top, the very edge has a little bit of that crisp on it, but inside looks moist. So I know this is going to be hot, so I'm going to blow on this a bit. Appetit. Oh. Maybe not quite cool enough. Wow. That is unbelievable. Not as dense as like a meatloaf. And it has this amazingly, I don't know, flavor variety between sweet and a little bit of heat, and it's creamy from the egg and the milk mixture in it. Man, oh man, is that good. And I ended up with one of the cranberries right there too. And I didn't even taste the cranberry, but it gives it an interesting texture. It's a little bit of a chewy bite to it. That's phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. You've got to try this. I've had it before, but honestly, this is one of the better ones I've ever had. I've done them in the oven before. I don't know if it's the smoker that did it or the fact that we cooked it in a cast iron, so it has a little bit of that char on the outer edge, but oh my Lord, is that delicious. Huh. I hope you guys really enjoyed taking this culinary trip around the Cape of Good Hope, just south of South Africa, where we're having Bobotie. Delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next Tuesday, and I'd encourage you, take your own culinary journey. It's fun, and it's a great excuse to teach the kids or grandkids a little bit about geography. Bye, y'all. Safe and happy grilling. Enjoy that Bobotie.